Core values act as a compass that guides choices and actions, especially when emotions are overwhelming. Fridays are for book club. I'll be giving you the takeaway from the book titled Emotional Agility by Susan David. Chapter 6 talks about walking your why. Core values as a compass. Emotional agility isn't just about noticing and accepting emotions, it's about moving forward with intention. Core values act as a compass that guides choices, actions, especially when emotions are overwhelming. The difference between goals and values. Goals are destinations. For example, I want to lose 20 pounds. I really want to lose 20 and I am going to lose 20 pounds. I've lost 10 thus far. Values are ongoing directions. For example, I value health and vitality. Therefore, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Goals can be achieved and checked off, but values are never complete. They shape how you live daily. Values clarify priorities. Without values, emotions can hijack your decisions. That pause was intentional. I wanted that to marinate. With values, you align actions with what truly matters, even in difficult situations. Walking why means living your values in small walking why means living your values in small, consistent choices, not just big life decisions. For example, if you value family, it's not only about vacations, it's about being present for dinner or conversations. Values and resilience. Anchoring in values increases resilience and reduces stress. When hardship arises, values gives meaning to struggles and keep people moving forward. Chapter 7, the tiny tweak principle. Small shifts matter the most. Change doesn't always require a massive transformation. Small, deliberate, tiny peaks in behavior can create compounding, lasting change. Choice points. Everyday moments present choice points, opportunities to act in ways that align with values or default to old habits. I have a young lady who says she wants to stop smoking. I said, "What are you doing to replace it at?" She could not give me an answer. So that was an invitation for her to, what are you going to do when you have that craving, that urge to smoke? Are you going to journal? Are you going to walk? Are you going to call a friend? What are you going to do? Because if not, it's easy to default to those old habits. Say you want to stop drinking, that you may have to change your environment. You may have to change the people that you're hanging around with because they may not want to stop drinking. And you have to be strong enough, be disciplined enough to be in those environments and not become the environment. So maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you have to do something different. Maybe you have to find new friends. You have to do what you have to do if you want a different result. So that's just an example I wanted to share. Recognizing choice points allows us to pause, pick the path that moves us closer to who we want to be. So if you want to become a person who doesn't drink, who doesn't smoke, you have to be around people who don't drink or don't smoke. Maybe in that moment until you're strong enough to be able to be in those environments and not give in to those temptations. Okay. Environment shapes behaviors. Sometimes change is less about willpower and more about shaping the environment. For example, if you value health, keeping fruit visible and chips out of sight increases the likelihood of better choices. So if you know that if the chips are there, you're gonna eat them, you might need to just do a haul, just get rid of all the junk food out of your house so you can have healthier choices. Because we know that if those chips are there, we're going to eat them. I wanted to do that. If I see chips versus apple or a pear, I'm gonna grab the chip. I'm gonna grab the chips because that's what I normally do. You go back to the default to those old habits. Language and identity. Shifting self talk creates tiny but powerful changes. Instead of saying, I can't eat sugar, I'm choosing foods that give me energy. And just think about that. I can't eat sugar no more. I can't eat. No, I'm choosing foods that give me energy. I can't smoke no more. I'm choosing life and vitality, right? I can't drink no more. I'm choosing a healthy body. So we have to change the language, right? This affirms agency and values rather than restrictions. And it does. It even sounds better. It feels better saying it. Tiny peaks reduces the intimidation of change and build momentum. Over time, these shifts accumulate into habits and identity. Over time, these shifts accumulate into habits and identity level change from I run sometimes to I'm a runner. Overall, so the overall insight of chapter 6 through 7: true emotional agility is not about denying emotions, but moving through them with clarity about what matters the most, making consistent small choices that align daily life with, let me say it again, making consistent choices that align daily life with those values. I want to give you some, because I know I just gave you a lot of stuff right now. So I want to give you an application guide for this, walking your why. Because a lot of times we give people a bunch of information, we don't really necessarily tell them how to do it. All right. You get the information. I know I need to change. I know I need to do this. But how do I do it? I want to give you some reflection questions for you to be able to figure out what your values are. I'm telling you, once you figure out what your values are, your yeses and your nos will be so clear. In this season, I never said as much as I have in my entire life because my values are just so clear. They're so clear. And if it's not aligned with my value, no matter how good the opportunity may sound. What are my top, so here are the questions, the reflection questions, y'all. What are my top 3 values that guide how I want to live? For example, the values could be honesty, compassion, growth, family, faith, health, and freedom. So, what are your values? For example, my value is honesty, my value is compassion, and my value is health and faith. So, if the things that I'm saying yes to are going to be things that are in line with my values, and if they're not, then it's an easy no. Where in my life am I living aligned with these values? Okay. Where am I living? Here's another question. Where am I living out of alignment with these values? So when it comes to health, eating junk food, not exercising, just doing a bunch of stuff that is not good for your health, not good for your body. Because a lot of times we're making we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing, and it's causing health issues. If you know that smoke, if you know that you have breathing problems, why are you smoking? Why? So certain things that we're doing is creating other things. So that's why your decisions have to align with your values. How could I bring my values into small everyday tasks at work, in relationships, and in self care? Those are the questions. You can rewind it back and go back and write it down, stop and pause and get what you need. You can create a value compass. Draw a compass north, south, east, west. At the center, write the core value. So the core value, for example, honesty, compassion, growth, family, or faith. Around the edges, write small choices you can make to move towards the goal of alignment. For example, value is health, so that means you're going to walk 20 minutes. Another value, west, is snack. Another value for west will be a fruit snack versus chips. So those are some examples you can use to help you make better decisions. I like that. Walking your why. Those are the reflection questions. It will help you with your yeses and your nos. We have to make better decisions because we were born looking like our parents. We die looking like our decisions. So make sure you're making the best decision for your life. Make sure it aligns with your values. First of all, figure out what those values are. Make sure that everything's in alignment with that. Can't go wrong from there. So Fridays are for book club. I hope this was helpful. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to put it in the comment section. I will see you in the